Where did I put my coffee cup?
Oh, thank you.
That's the main thing.
Okay.
There's our supplementary documents.
I heard, texted me.
I didn't print the agenda. Do you have anybody?
The agenda is.
It's this, right?
It's just this, that's
Okay,
it.
okay, I just.
So Karen's got one there, I'm gonna make a copy.
Okay, thanks.
So I can do her gig.
So I can just speak in order, not speaking out of order.
I give you one of these, right? The marks. There's one for you. Oh, yeah, yeah. Sorry, did I give you one of this one?
I did not see that.
Which first you open?
Looks like I'm running a little low. If you guys wouldn't mind just sharing these aren't vital, like that vital, those are just, give a little more background information
Here's your
to
script.
Thank you.
where those, and then
Where
here's a big one. I didn't print too many copies of that because it's thick packet.
Yeah.
That's another one of the groups. Oh, and then
Throwing things at your feet now.
you get a skills
Empty it out and
out there.
Like,
And so I'll walk through the document and then point out when we need to look at all the external documents. Those are more to give you a little background information, and also for billboard wise, it's a lot of locational and cost information.
Cool. Meeting's called to order, 9:02.
Camilla here.
Craig here. Tom here.
So
Madam Chairwoman, may we table the minutes, please?
Sure. Petitions or communications, oral or written? Boy, there's so much, isn't there? Isn't it hard to even go there, because people walk up to us all the time and say different things, right? So it's really hard to keep that going, but nothing that stands out right now. I did forward you guys that little thing from CTO yesterday about and about okay, policy items, marketing plan. Andrew, you're up.
You're up.
Okay, so
Oh wait, I do have something to tell.
Okay, you're not up.
But it was sort of in the air at the last meeting, so I was chosen as one of the top 20 for the governor's
You got it.
leadership. They contacted me.
Yay!
So we'll have representation in Southern Colorado, which is really good.
Good.
Well, they do a leadership 20. The last year was the first year they did it, so they select 20 people throughout the state who they think works closely with the CTO. Do something almost monthly with them year round. And it gives better attention. It grows us as people, but it gives, the areas gives better attention because we're involved with the Colorado Tourism Office, so hopefully we can derail grants and people's thought processes. I'm thinking about Southern Colorado, so I was pretty happy about that.
I'll go ahead and say that even greater than that is, while the application was open to anyone in Colorado, I was actually invited to put our application in, so that's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
This also gives us that hand-to-hand relationship with Kathy Ritter,
Yeah.
and so that funding conversation is one of our goals, along with traveling the state
And
with
giving
these
the
other
spiel on
leaders and
Trinidad
giving
and
spiels.
I'll be with you on that one. Yeah, okay.
The
I'm
the
proud.
things that they're gonna
Secretary.
do are really
Absolutely.
neat, so that's great.
So they're very excited.
Yeah,
Okay.
congratulations.
Congratulations.
okay, well, if we're ready. So the basics of what I did, I knew that we wanted to have a strong online sort of campaign. That was the number one goal from sort of coming out of our first conversations, with that strong online campaign, keep the local campaign going that we've been doing for a while, and then potentially add in some more billboards. And this, so this plan includes everything from management, maintenance, advertising, and creation. So it's sort of a combination of all of those different content areas and subject areas. And so to start out, we'll go under the social media subsection. So what I did is I reached out to 4 different agencies. 2 of them were Colorado-based. One was Colorado-based but had other offices around the country, and one was Chicago-based but has offices all around the country. And so these are social media, online advertising companies / management companies. And so what I really had a conversation with them about what we can get for what budgets, and also what is important for making a strong social media presence both on the paid side and on the unpaid side. And so these people will actually take basically over control of the Facebook page. They will do everything from postings to advertising to optimization to content creation. They basically do the whole package for you, and so that's where sort of these numbers dive into. And so with Facebook ads, that's a combination of just boosting posts, which is sort of what traditionally has been done on the Facebook pages throughout the city, and that is basically when you write out a normal post, it only reaches the people that follow that Facebook page. So when you boost a post, it boosts it to directional audiences who you're trying to focus towards and lets them see the post without them actually following the page. So it has the opportunity to get them into the page. As well as that, we'll also do paid advertisements, and so that will be both inside sort of the normal news stream and sidebar advertisements, and those will more look like traditional advertisements that won't be as much of a post about some type of topic, but will be more visual or be video oriented. Those will be about, if it's a picture, just a beautiful picture with a tagline, things like that, to get people to click, because the whole goal is to get people to click through to either the Facebook page or click through to the website. So we'll actually optimize all these ads so that they click through to different pages, and then on the back end, these companies will actually put in the measurement tools to know that. So with this ad, we spent this much money on it, this many people saw it, and this many people clicked on it, and this many people spent this much time on our page. So that gives you a lot of good metrics to know what's working and what's not working, so they're able to change it. Another thing that we'll be doing on Facebook with all of these companies is A/B testing, and so that'll be putting up between 4 and 5 ads all in a similar space, all in very small 1-2 day sort of market pushes to different markets, to different industries, and see what's most effective with those industries using those ads, and then you can actually create a successful ad campaign from that. So you're sort of testing your markets beforehand. So that's another thing we'll be doing, is testing advertisements to see what's most effective before you go on to a more expensive ad buy where you're trying to reach more people, things like that. The Instagram ads, this is also something that they'll do. So they'll actually start up by building our Instagram presence. So they would actually create an Instagram page for us. Most of them will actually, for a fee, that's why we have some of this content creation fees down here, will come into the city for between 3 days to a week and actually come with professionals to take pictures, take videos, get stories, all those type of sort of intangibles that they need to know about the community to advertise and market that community the best. So they'll come in, they'll do all that, set up the Instagram page, and then they'll not only do regular Instagram postings, which will be pictures, but then also pay for advertising, which then goes into someone's normal feed as an ad, but it blends in just like the rest of them, and then that gives you as well metrics where you can click through and see whether they go to the website, whether they go into our brick and mortar Instagram page instead of just on the feed. Will give us all those metrics to tell us how effective those are working. So through my recommendations, really with the amount of money we would spend on a management company to manage these, everyone's recommended to spend between $1,000 and $1,700 a month. That's so that, and you, of course, these can always be tweaked during the year, so it's not a, most of the fees that you'll sign up for will be on the management side and the content creation side, and then they'll have recommended ad expenses. So you won't actually, if you decide that we need to save a bunch of money, you can cut your advertising in half. What that does is you're limiting your exposure by a lot, which is limiting the data that you're getting by a lot. So what they recommend is to spend a good amount of money in your advertisements so that you could actually get that data back and you can start actually building your social media. Because the bigger you build your social media, the less you should have to advertise because you'll have a larger following, which means a larger group of people that choose to get your information for free instead of having to pay to see your information.
So the averages that you got for the monetary amounts, was that derived from the standard rates? Was that divided from 6 discs? Where did those rates come from? Like that it normally cost about this much?
So, as in the advertising?
Yeah.
So those are from these advertising agencies that I reached out
Okay.
to, as well as knowing sort of what Facebook cost per click and cost per transaction is. That's what they recommend. Now that gets you That will get you at least, it really depends on how much you want to boost and how many ads you want to post and all those type of things. So it can really be anything from one major ad that you're rolling out largely to all of Colorado, New Mexico, and Texas, or it could be a bunch of small boosts that are into certain areas, or it could be 20 ads that are rolled out all to different demographic or age groups. So it really depends on sort of how big and how large. So it's hard to tell you exactly how much you'll spend because every month it depends what you're trying to target, what you find is most effective.
Okay, I just didn't know if there's okay.
Yeah. So that's where they recommend it. And then the management cost is anywhere between $800 and $2,400 a month. That really depends on the agency and is really going to depend on what you guys write up in your RFP. So what I was able to do is reach out to these companies, but because you're a city entity, what you'll have to do, especially since this is going to be between a $60,000 and a $100,000 contract most likely, you'll actually have to write an RFP that says everything that you're looking for. Like you'll see in one of the RFPs that I reference 5 to 7 posts a week, natural posts a week, plus the boosting, all the advertisement of different posts. And so that is what they're gonna base their cost off of. So it's mostly it's gonna be based off of content creation and posts. And then advertising will be on another note of how many advertisements you wanna do a week. But that's where bulk of your social media expense is going to go into is that management, because they're going to do all the front end stuff of actually getting things up, making the content, but then also all the back end stuff of finding all the information and writing your reports, usually monthly or every 2 months, depending on the organization you go with.
Andrew, will they also handle the comments that
Yes.
the community's putting on
Yeah,
there?
so
and keep the
they'll
conversation
handle the comments, they'll handle messages, they'll be in contact with whoever's assigned to at the city
for managing the contract.
for managing the contract, but they'll also be, if they have questions or need more information, that's who you'll basically just send it to, and then they'll be the one that, so you would send them an email that says, here's a bunch of things, or make sure to check the event page because it gets updated every day, all those type of things, and then they'll run the social media campaign off of that. Of course, they'll as well write sort of organic stuff, so stuff that they've noticed that has been effective in different campaigns. And so some of the agencies I called to work more with municipalities and communities. Some of them work more with businesses, but also the bigger ones have worked with everyone. So it really depends. The Vista work is out of Canyon City, and they're currently working with Rio Grande and sort of southwestern Colorado, and they've done a big campaign for about 7 years with that county. And so you can actually go online to VistaWorks and see that campaign that they've done and sort of.
So if we decide we want something out there, we communicate with them, or?
Yes, so that would be sort of, you write this RFP out, and the RFP states your basics of what you're trying to get out of it. Are you looking to just grow your social media? Are you looking to diversify your social media? Are you looking to have this many posts a day? Are you looking to boost this much? And you're probably going to give them, this is how much we're looking to spend. Give them usually between this number and this number. This is how much you're going to put it out there, and then you'll get a ton of RFPs back, which will basically tell you, here's all the services that we can give you. They'll be like the Vista Work one, but a little more descriptive most likely. And then from there, you'll pick an agency, and then that's when you start working hand in hand with the agency.
Okay, so my question was like, so let's say January comes along, we're like, okay, we want to do something for Cinco de Mayo. We want to work with the entertainment district, and let's get a Cinco de Mayo party going in town. We would contact them and say, we're going to do a Cinco de Mayo party, and this is what's going to happen during that, and then they promote that for us.
Yep, they do all those. So anything like that, if there's a Christmas event that's going on, they can promote that for you, as well as posting things. So it wouldn't be just promotion. I wouldn't recommend it being just promotion, because that is a little more local oriented. It can be boosted out to exuding neighborhoods, but what's going to attract those sort of the people that follow from the outskirts are a lot of those really visually appealing things. So the video last year that was done of the Christmas lights, or pictures of beautiful winters in Trinidad. Those are going to be those visually appealing things that attract people, and then you partner those with those event promotions and the postings that really highlight cool things in the town. You can even say, hey, here's 10 interviews of different community members that are influential, and post those once a week as like a community spotlight. So you can really determine your destiny. They, of course, will have recommendations and experience, and then we'll give you the data to back whatever you've done, whether it's been effective, less effective. If you decide, okay, for this month we're gonna completely take out this type of advertisement and only go towards this advertisement. You can do a test month where you just see what happens in that type of advertisement. So you have the keys to your destiny with a group like this, because you basically will be managing them to manage your social media as well as promote your social media.
So in other words, if you have an event going on, then you add it to a bunch of things, visual things that are going on.
Yep. Yeah, and so that event, and you could say, okay, we have this huge event this month. We want to not only post about it twice a week, we want to boost those posts, and every time we boost those posts, they need to go to these regions.
Right.
And then we can also create an advertisement for that event that's going to go into a whole different metrics of tracking people and do that. And then we can also do geolocation / age location for this blues festival, because we see that the peak age range is 30 to 55. So we're going to do Instagram from Albuquerque to Denver in their news feeds, basically saying, come check out this Blues Fest, with a really cool picture that we have of the Blues Fest. All those things are easily possible. So you can really target it to special events. You can target it to overall.
So the video we did for the TV stations, you could give that to them?
Easily.
And they would
Yeah,
use it.
as long as it's under a minute for Instagram.
Yeah.
Recommended 15 to 30 seconds for
Yes.
most social media platforms. But yeah, you can give those. They can also do active stories, which are sort of 24-hour live things on both Facebook and Instagram, and so they can do other promotional. They can always communicate with commenters, all those type of things through both platforms.
Would they also work then with the CTO so we can get on all the statewide stuff that's going out, and
As in,
the social media channels that the state manages?
Yeah.
If we ask them to, they could work on that.
yeah, they can
So
work with.
they can
They can
then-
work over takeovers.
They
Is
can
what
be
you're talking about.
takeovers,
Yes.
but they can also be regularly giving the state information, so the state's then putting things on their social.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. They can also
That's
be.
something I think we've missed.
They can also
Yeah.
be an easy subsidiary for those type of.
How would this work? Let's use the Blues Fest. And they come to us and ask for some money to help promote the Blues Fest, okay? And they're a grant request, right? And how do we marry a grant request with our ability to advertise them through our social media?
You can make requirements on that funding, that they provide you with all of these things, so that you can then, while they're advertising through their blues-specific channels, you can take the materials that are being produced from that and advertise them through your general Trinidad channels.
And you could also make your grant
Couldn't you?
request. Yeah, you could also make your grant request. So we'll dedicate this much money to you in a grant, and then we'll dedicate this much money to you in boosting and
Okay,
advertising
that was my
through.
question.
Yeah.
Like-
So you could say say we're gonna do it for the month of May and June and July, and say our budget for those months on Facebook and Instagram are $1,500 each a month, because those are our summer months. We decided to pack some more money into the summer months. That's the other thing, is these monthly
They can-
estimates, they can change, and a lot of these proposals, that's what I told
We
them, is
can add or delete.
we'll be looking to spend more money during certain months rather than other months
Right.
because of the traffic, blah, 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 blah.
So that would be a good way to do that.
So if
It
you-
would also give you an accurate representation of what you were investing in.
So if you decided to say give them, you have $2,000 a month in February or in Facebook ads and 1,500 in Instagram ads. You could say we're going to give you 1,000 in Facebook and 750 in Instagram. So that'd give them $1,750 a month. So you'd say we're giving that to you for 3 months, and so we'll use that money to promote ads related to the Blues Fest, as well as boost posts that we post about related to the Blues
And
Fest.
then would the contractor here work directly with the Blues Fest to create all that content and get it out there?
It would probably, it would depend. I mean, I wouldn't
If we
recommend.
instructed them to.
Yeah,
That's
if
what
you
we would
instructed,
do.
I wouldn't recommend
We
trying
wouldn't
to
micromanage.
put too many people
Right,
to
yeah,
that advertiser person, because that can also run up your cost if
Yeah.
you have a
Yeah.
bunch of people asking for things that you haven't
In
approved.
other words, it'd be controlled here.
Yeah, I would recommend to have it controlled here, so you would say like,
This is what we.
hey advertiser, or hey managing company, what do we need to run this type of campaign for these 3 months on Facebook and Instagram? And they'll say, we need this many pictures, we need this much video, we need this, and then you go to the Blues Fest, can you get us all that information? And maybe they
That's
want
what to do,
10
yeah.
stories or things like that, so that would be the way I would recommend.
Don't send them to my husband, please.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, don't send, that might be a 6-month process, don't do that. Just tell them, send the pictures.
To Andrew's point, that if we set up all those contacts, that we might end up really raising our costs.
Yeah, yeah.
You have to
Yeah.
designate one contact.
Just tell Jerry to send you the pictures, that's all.
And so that's sort of in general how those both Facebook and social media ads will cost. The management costs are revolving basically around the idea of doing between 3 and 7 posts a week on each social media. So of course you guys would be able to do other posts if you would like to, but these would be sort of those posts that they're actually targeting and tracking. So you'll actually get the metrics behind everything that you do every month. And then you'll also get the content creation. They'll give you reports on sort of the growth of the page and where that growth is for. And then they'll also put in some SEO stuff on the website related to that so that they know who's coming from the ads and going straight to the website, who's going from the ads to the Facebook page to the website, who's finding the Facebook page organically and going to the website. So it's sort of telling you that process of, are people actually going from, and then are they clicking on certain pages? So sort of like in La Quinta, people might go to the homepage of La Quinta, but they're actually going to the hotel page of the La Quinta for your specific hotel. That's a huge different metric for you because that means they're actually interested in your hotel versus the franchise in general. So that's if we have a bunch of people and then they're clicking on events, that we know that people are coming to the Trinidad website and they're interested in events, or maybe they're really interested in lodging and we see, wow, everyone's really looking for lodging when they're coming to the city of Trinidad. And that can tell you information so that in future years it gives you a better understanding of what to market as well as what we need to focus on. I mean, if everyone's looking for lodging, that probably tells us both that lodging is a concern in the town because they're going to a tourism website to look for lodging, not just a lodging website, as well as that that's something that's very important to people when they're coming to a small town. So all those type of things will give you a lot more background information for where
So
you're
we
spending
can
your
measure
money.
everything.
Yeah, everything is measurable because everything is online, so everything is tracked.
Okay.
That's the good thing about
And
the
and
internet.
do they
is-
give you a breakdown of that if you would ask them
Yep.
what they're really tracking, what
Yep.
people are really tracking?
Yeah, they'll break down everything that they're tracking with you. They can have monthly meetings with you as well as sending reports, but basically they'll tell you, so of this much money, here's how much it costs per click. So how much it costs for someone to click on our ad and go to the website. Once they got to the website, here's the average time that they spent on the website. Here's how many pages they spent on the website. Here's how many times they came back to the website after they clicked on the ad the first time within a 6-month period. So you may see, well, okay, so our ads are working okay, their click-throughs decent, about average, but our returns to the website are 7. That means you have a really effective campaign because people are returning to that website and keeping that idea of Trinidad in their head. So they can they can give you all those metrics. So they will have to have a little bit of access to the back end of the web content, so they can actually put in their trackers basically, but that's very easy and all the companies are able to work together to do that type of stuff.
Okay,
And then so we moved on to sort of the email campaign side of things. So this is going to be sort of that more traditional email blast and drip service. So an email blast is basically you collect a list of people. So my recommendation would be combining all the Colorado tourism leads that you've gotten over the last year and a half. You can get those from you can get them from Colorado Tourism. You'd put those into a CRM, which is a customer relationship management software. That CRM would then have you put a little information about those people as much as you could. Some of them will have more, some of them will have less. And then the other goal would be on the website, have an area that you can ask for more information and submit your email. So that would all feed into our CRM system. Then we would have that large list of contact people. We then can use that CRM system to send out weekly, usually we don't recommend over a week unless there's special events or something, but from everything I've read and talked to, usually weekly email blasts going out to all of these recipients. So
Okay, so I for some reason, I have no idea, but about every 3 months, I get a thing from the city of Northland.
Mhm.
Something's going on in the city of Northland.
Yeah.
So I'm on that.
So you probably in some way, shape, or form signed up for some type of email and somewhere near that area or something, and then they were shared those emails, and then City of Northland somehow got your email.
Mhm.
Or you signed up for Wi-Fi in the town and they got your email through that. Tons of ways they can get your emails,
Yeah.
very easy, but the idea behind this is that they're not gonna be, you're not gonna be able to track them as much besides did people open them and then did people interact with them. So you send an email to Sai. Sai might just delete it right away. Our CRM system will tell us that she
Okay.
deleted it right away. So if she deletes it right away for 2 months straight, that means that we should take her off our CRM system
She's not
because
interested.
she's not interested and now we're burning a bad relationship with Sai.
Yeah, I just delete it without opening it.
Yes,
So
so you can, so that's part of that sort of, when you ask about that lead database management, that's where that cost comes in, is really to not only go out and get more leads, so to get your email. Say they go through a different organization, they can get more emails, or they do campaigns to get more emails. That would be sort of that lead generation side, and the database management side would be saying, this person didn't read the email for 2 months, let's take them off the list because this is probably damaging our reputation with them. Or these people read the emails every time and click on our website, maybe we should send some special emails out to them, maybe we have a deal that we want to send out to some people, we can do that. So that's really the options in that email. You can find out what they're doing with the emails and you can send them out as often or as not often as you want, but what's recommended is usually 4 to 6 times a
So
month.
if the incoming email, if they make a request for some information, this management company is supposed to answer them, right?
So it would be a little different. So that would be extra sort of service that you would probably have to charge up. So this is all the outward emails. Then you would have to create. So this email you can't reply to.
Yeah.
It basically it's a service sends them
Okay.
out. It's a BCC type of service, but you can't reply to these emails because they're not coming from andrew.wallace@trinidad.co.gov. They're coming
You can't
from
answer it back.
yeah. You can't answer them back.
Reply to sender.
No reply.
If you
No
reply, it will basically just send you a quick back message. You
Background.
cannot reply. So then, what we would, if that was something we were interested in, where
Drive them
people
to the
could
website.
reply, you could either drive them to the website where you have a comment section where they put their email and they put a comment, and that could go then
But
back
that's
to the
added cost.
and that would go back actually to the same team that does the email and the social
Okay.
media.
Okay, so we don't
And that-
really have in here a place for somebody requesting information about Trinidad.
It would go back to that first group that Andrew was talking about that would answer it if you're.
It would be the same group, they're just
Yeah.
using two different products, basically. So the best way to have people is not to respond to emails, because then you basically have to say, if you have any questions, respond to this email, but what I'd recommend is you say, if you have any questions, go, and then you create a page on the website that says questions or comments. And then basically they put in their email, they put in, and they write in their question. Sometimes you can ask for more information, sometimes.
Well, what you're trying to say is if someone contacts and says, I want information about Trinidad, do we send it? They don't do that.
That would be us, yeah, that would be a different.
That'd
That'd
be a
be totally different.
Cost or a different person
Right.
in charge
That
of
is totally
answering
different, yeah.
emails.
Unless we included it in the
RFP.
RFP for the top group, that any inquiries that came through the website or any distribution that had to be, that came through, we could include that, but it might increase
But-
that monthly cost.
But you're saying on that monthly fee that we want the Welcome Center to do, you think maybe they could do
Okay,
it? And-
let's say I live in Amarillo,
Right,
and, I say, hey, let's go to Trinidad for the weekend.
right.
And then I wanna say, is there anything going on in Trinidad this coming weekend? And then I want somebody to respond to me to tell me, we got a festival, we got a chili cook-off, or
Well,
we've
that
got
would be
this
on
going.
this.
That's
That
gonna
would
be very expensive.
That would be very expensive to have somebody.
Because that's-
Because there's too many, you could refer people to your website, your Facebook page, they could see, if it's being posted right, they could see all that on Facebook, our Facebook page,
Yeah.
our website, our tourism website, they could see that already, you don't need to answer them, that would be
Cause that would be,
And most-
you would
and
be
most-
paying someone an hourly rate.
people
It's
should
over the
answer.
top anyway, right?
But if you referred them to the Facebook
Page,
page,
they
Right.
could write a
Then-
message to the Facebook page
then that
saying,
management. group
I'm
would answer
interested
it.
in this, and this, can you give me a little more information? And the management group can answer those Facebook.
Okay.
Or they would come back
Messages.
to the person managing their contract in the city,
Okay.
and that person would answer it.
Yeah.
But they would
Or
make sure
just
that was
refer them to
targeted.
the different websites.
Yes.
Around Trinidad, so they can look up
The
that
goal is for them to
information
be able to
themselves.
find out all this information
Right.
very easily. So if they're looking for events, there's an event page, and it's gonna start with the day that we're on, and it's gonna be a rolling calendar that says, here's the next day, or here's the next event, and what's the day, and you click on it, and it gives you a description of that event. Here's the next event, here's the description, here's a picture of it.
Yeah.
So I'm coming to Trinidad and there's this thing that says top 10 things to do in Trinidad.
Like on
Something like that.
TripAdvisor, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Well, no, that would be different. So that's what TripAdvisor puts out. We would have a calendar which would say, here's
The events that.
here's the events that are happening, here's the dates in chronological order, so that you could, if you're coming in 2 weeks, you could scroll down and see, okay, this is the weekend I'm
This
gonna
is the
be
weekend
there.
I'm gonna be there.
There from the 15th to the 18th, and you'll see, here's the 4 events that are going on from the 15th and 18th. And if you have any questions, you could go to the Facebook page and you could send a question to them that way.
And I do man that page, just so I was gonna tell you that. I do man the Discover Trinidad page. I mean, a bunch of us do, but I do have it linked into mine, so if somebody asks a question, I can answer.
Okay.
If they message, Discover Trinidad,
Mhm.
and you have it on your phone, and any of us can have it on our phone, I think Tara has it.
And so, yeah, with
We can
this,
answer, and I have answered.
with the management group, that doesn't take away still the responsibilities for you guys to also be looking at the Facebook
Right.
page, posting other things that you think might be important, but it's their job to do sort of the science side behind it, so actually figure out what posts are actually working the best and actually boost the post and do the marketing and do the advertising and making the
Not
content.
everybody could go in and post on that page.
No,
Just
no,
you're
no,
gonna
only the admin, only
Okay.
people that are assigned to administration.
Admin,
So
okay.
I think it's Cy and Tara and.
Right.
I think we had Raven, I think we had Jonathan, we had like 4
Right now,
people.
it's just you and me.
Yeah.
Oh, so maybe. they-
So right now, it would just be you, and then we would make an admin the content person,
Right.
so that they could actually do the advertisements as well, because that's an admin aspect of it.
So I could go to one of them and say, put this up there,
Yeah.
Yep.
and they will put that up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you wouldn't want to go with every type, say you wanna post 20 times this week, because there's a lot going on, you don't wanna go and say, we need these 20 posts to happen.
Right.
Because that's gonna be above and beyond your contract, so you're gonna be spending more,
Right,
because
you gotta watch.
yeah, so you don't want, you want to use them strategically,
Right.
but you can also do things on your own. So they'll keep your page active, lively,
Right.
and get you all the metrics and create all the content. But say there's just something going on,
Live.
yeah,
right
something,
now.
yeah, something's going on and you wanna post about it. Post about it, don't worry about not having their permission or anything. You still have access to all that social media. They're just the ones that are gonna be doing the bulk of the work and the bulk of the growing your audience. That's their goal, is to start you with 10 people and get you to 1,000 people. Is to grow your audience and keep your audience.
How important do they say, or have they mentioned that email campaign?
They're very important for a certain age group, and they're also very important for a thing called mindshare.
Okay.
So age group younger, obviously?
Older.
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 And emails.
Younger people are very much
Instagram.
Well, and delete all spam emails. Click on it and say don't send them to me. You can download things on your computer that will go through and basically comb your email list.
Oh, yeah.
There's versus the older generation reads their emails like they do mail, which is more of a click on it. Not as much anymore because there's been so much spam that goes out, but they have a more likelihood. But the thing about it, it's not as much as introducing new people to Trinidad as much as you signed up somewhere to find out information about Trinidad. That means you have an intrinsic interest in Trinidad. This is to remind you that Trinidad exists every couple weeks. So it's not as much to say come to Trinidad as it's much to say,
Keeps it on
hey,
your mind.
remember Trinidad's there. Hey, remember Trinidad's there. And then maybe one weekend you're going through your emails because you're looking for something, you see that Trinidad thing pop up and you decide to click on it. And then it shows fishing and you go, geez, I've been working a ton, I wanna go fishing. It's to
I do
keep
wanna go
people's,
fishing.
yeah, it's to
That's what I was
keep,
thinking.
it's to keep people's minds on
Interesting.
Trinidad and what
Okay,
Trinidad has
Okay.
to offer rather than capturing new people. So it's all gonna be about that, keeping those people that have been here or that are interested in here, getting them here or getting them back to here. Making that their place that they're thinking about when they think about a weekend trip or a week-long trip or a mountain getaway. That's why you wanna keep that space in their mind. It's called mind share in the
Okay.
marketing field.
Okay.
So that gets us through sort of that email campaign and management. And so something for you guys to notice, the social media, email campaign, and content creation will all happen under one organization. So that'll happen under something like a Vista Work or I'm drawing a blank on their name right now. I think it's like Nice or something special like that. It's Life.
like,
So that type of company will do all three of those things. So they'll manage all of that. So that's what you'll be putting in your RFP is those first three sectors basically. And then there's some other suggested things that you could look into that might be effective, whether it's this year, next year, in the future, that would also be managed by that same type of
So
company.
you're saying they would do the content creation too?
Yes,
Okay.
they do all the content creation.
Okay.
okay, so, and then what you're telling me is because we do the radio station, the paper, well, the radio station ourselves, right?
Yes,
We don't need them to do that.
they wouldn't do the
They wouldn't
radio.
do that.
It would be very expensive for us to
Right.
pay them to do
Yeah.
something
That-
as
right.
simple as radio
Us going
stations.
Right.
And with the newspaper, they're already gonna be making content for us that we own, so we can use that content on the newspaper. But
Okay.
you're also advertising in a newspaper, so you have a lot less ability to do.
Okay.
Yeah, I've kept the newspaper and the radio on for bringing local presence to events, as well as bringing people who listen to the radio off of the highway, or who are in town listening to the radio to events that aren't as social media savvy. So they're not huge line item expenses, but they are, I think, important for the locals. And so through the content creation, it'll all sort of depend on what you're looking for. So if they're creating content, if you give them a photo, and if you give them 100 photos and you say we want ads, that will be a part of sort of that management fee. But if you say we need you to come get more images for the town, or that's what they recommend, then that's gonna be an extra fee for content creation, basically. And so why I put that in there is because video, we don't have much video, we don't have a big video bank of library. Videos are very effective in advertising, especially short videos, especially on social media.
Short, less than.
So are you
Um,
recommending we create this with these now? that
So-
we have them,
As in,
the videos?
so we don't have,
Or-
we have 2 to 3 videos maybe for the city that would be social media appropriate. And
Like the Christmas one was?
the Christmas one, if they have a Blues Fest one that they use, and maybe one that we have that flies over Trinidad. But still, those aren't even that, they don't grab you and they don't push you to want to do something. So we would spend this money most likely with our advertising company because we want them to also know the community. And if it's hard to, I mean, it's not hard to market stuff on numbers without knowing the community,
Right.
but to really be effective, it's best if they have some understanding of what the community is and
Say
the
like,
background of the
say like
community.
we wanna create a new one now for the trolley.
Yeah,
And in this be a lot of things that we wanna include for this, that we have about the town.
Mhm.
It's not only gonna be used for the trolley,
Could
but
be
it's
used
also,
other ways.
it's gonna be used in other.
so you could say, we would like you to come down and we want you to do a video reel highlighting all these different subsections that we could put together for the bus, but also scrap and use for advertising.
Right.
You could ask them to do that. And so that would be something that you would want to definitely identify in your contract. And then if you decide that these companies are too expensive in that type of orientation, you could go out and you could find another company. But you will, in some way or another, you will need content for the content creators to make
Right.
into advertisements and posts.
Right. So
So
we have to
whether
establish
you
that.
decide to have someone like Life or Vista do it, or you decide to have a third-party agency do it, they can't just make content up. They need pictures that
They
they're
need
able to
direction.
post, or they need videos that they're able to post.
So we could get somebody locally to do that and give it to them.
Yes.
Okay.
And it all depends on what you're looking for, how much you're willing to spend, and
Right.
what sort of quality you're looking for, and what cohesiveness you're working
Right.
for. The more you keep it under one agency, the more they understand. Sometimes the more expensive it can get.
Right.
The more you separate it out, sometimes you can get it cheaper. You can get some people who have local experience, those type of things. You will still have to then do that coordination to get all those pictures back to your firm, get all those videos back to your firm,
Not
and then
my work.
direct them to say, this is what we're sort of thinking of. Because part of that process, if you brought someone like Life or Vista work in for 3 or 4 days, is you would go out with them to these different things and sort of talk to them about it, so then
But
they also
would know
have
the
that.
community too.
Yeah, they would know the
And then we
community.
wouldn't
Right.
have that in between,
And
sending them
I
all these
think-
pictures and
and
that
I
they have
think-
not a clue what it is
Yeah.
all about.
And I
'Cause-
think that needs to be created.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because
It
that's
really
they're
does.
gonna do a lot off of numbers, because numbers are very important, but they're also gonna do a lot off of the messaging and the story that you give them. So if you're trying to push a certain type of story and you want a lot of your posts to maybe be like quotes from local citizens, maybe that's something you feel that like the local citizens can talk about the town best. So maybe you do a picture in front of someone's beautiful building with a business and you have that local citizen give a quote about it. I mean, those are all opportunities.
My idea is like you send someone to, they actually know about the Colorado History Museum.
Yeah.
So you would send them to develop something there as part of this video.
Mhm.
And people that know what they're representing, those are the best people to.
100%, and that's why I tried to keep 2 agencies that were in Colorado. One that's in southern Colorado, at Vista Work, who works with other communities in our area. They work with what's the town north of us? I'm drawing a blank.
Walsenburg.
Walsenburg. They work with Walsenburg, and they work with Canyon City, and they work with some businesses in that area. So they work in that southern Colorado environment,
Yeah.
so they have a little better understanding.
Yeah.
And so that's up to you guys in sort of deciding who gives you the best RFPs, where they're located, and what you really feel you could get out of them in the idea of, do they meet our values? Because that's a huge part of advertising campaigns. You're looking for someone who meets the intrinsic values that the tourism board is trying to portray.
So when we contract with someone to do the content creation, is it important if we've got that overarching marketing firm that's doing all the social media, that they have communication back and forth so we make sure we're getting the correct format?
Yes,
Right.
so
We're
all of
getting those
these agencies can do everything I've described in content creation.
Okay,
They do, so if you guys wanted to make promotional posters for events or for,
our service could do that for us.
our service could do that, it would be extra, not the same as like the content creation for the advertisements and the social media. So you can give them content and they'll make it into posts, they'll make it into ads, and they'll make it into
Posters and
or,
everything.
you have to pay extra for that.
Right.
So that, what I was trying to say is the
But the
difference.
options are there.
Yeah, if you give them materials, they can make them into advertisements, posts, basically advertisement and posts. If you want them to grab or come and make the material, then you have to pay them more. So if we send them, we have a pretty decent photo bank. If we send them all those photos, they'd be able to spend a whole year and use those photos for advertisements and posts and not run out. But we don't have a video bank, so there's only gonna be 2 videos that we can play on our Facebook or Instagram page ever, because that's all we have, without paying more money to have them create
Create it.
content for us.
I have a logistics question.
Mhm.
Who's gonna be the contact person within the
We'll
city?
determine that, we're not there yet.
Okay,
Yeah, we kinda know who that's gonna be,
okay.
but that person doesn't know, so I'm not gonna say it here.
But that-
Yeah. So, yes.
God help them, that's
It
all.
will be someone that the tourism board's paying the salary for
Okay.
based on our last meeting.
Okay.
And then, so the recommendation would be then that you pick someone from the board and whoever your city liaison is to be sort of the 2 people that work with that agency. Just because the more people you have, I mean, you would rather have someone just report to you about that. You give them ideas, they go back to that agency instead of having 5 tourism board members plus a staff person all trying to send them information. 'Cause
Right.
The way that Tom's been working with
Yeah.
us on the website.
exact
coming
same
to our
concept
meetings
is
and
what I
everything.
would recommend. And so these content creations are all estimates because it all depends on how much content you have to create. with this $200 to $400, that will get you, depending on what you're looking for, it can get you a video of about 10 to 15 seconds. It's gonna cost at least $1,000 to get a 30-second video with their B-roll at least. And so those are things you sort of have to, when you're looking at going to different agencies, you have to look at, because you also want to say, do we get our B-roll, which is basically all the excess footage that they filmed that they didn't use in your commercial. Do we get the, so if you do it with one agency, I think it's, in my personal opinion, it's best because you can get them out here to 3 to 5 days. They'll be taking pictures, learning stories, and making videos all in sort of one trip. Versus
Coming back.
Trying to fill in the content now and then trying to find an agency to do something and bringing them in. I think it'll make your guys' lives easier and will also make the content a little more fluid if you have it all under one roof. Of course, you can also maybe say, we'll have them make this much content, we'll leave a budget of this much for content creation for spur-of-the-moment things. Say, we're about to have a huge snowstorm, and we're like, oh, we really need a video about snow in Trinidad. So maybe you go to a local video maker for that, and you say, we need you out there tomorrow, make a video, give us all the B-roll, and we'll send it to our advertising company. So it's sort of that combination of maybe you put in your initial budget, this is how much we have for content creation outside of what's already under the content creation budget, and then this is how much we have for special projects content creation.
And this has nothing to do with changing the video for the trolley. So that would be an additional.
That would be an
thing.
additional
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
You could,
It's something that we need though.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know,
I agree.
And then we could take that and use it.
On
For
other
other
different
things.
things.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just like if,
Our Facebook page, our website, everything.
yeah, it's just like, not like events. The person that's putting the event on to talk about the event and then have like pieces of it, you know, pictures,
Mhm.
you know, then we have that content. But we have to build a library.
yes, that's with all agencies, they won't build your library for you without money. They'll create your library into usable content as part of the management fees, but they won't create new content for you as part of the management fees.
See, like the library we have now is that one video that's in the trolley now.
And so the bigger you
That's
build your
what we have.
library, the easier it is to advertise because you have more options, you have
We
more
have options to go
selections.
through.
Yeah.
And part of that, and I know you just covered it, but just to reiterate, is part of that is we will own the content.
Yes,
Right.
you'll want to make sure to put that in all of
Yeah,
your.
just wanted to make sure that.
So-
Since we pay for it, we.
Yes.
Well, that's where you need to make sure that you
Yes.
write your
We need to
RFPs
make sure
properly,
that-
because most
What's that word?
RFP, request for proposal, basically, I would say over 50% of video and still photography companies will own your B-roll unless you put that,
Specified.
yeah. Which means they'll make you content, but they'll only give you that content and they own that content plus all of the extra footage.
Right.
So you have to really make sure to specify that we want B-roll and we want B-roll and full rights to all the content. Because if not, you'll have an agreement basically that says we can use this content for this, this, and this, and this.
Tommy, on the Blues Fest, Jerry has that in his contract, that whatever video pictures we take at
We
the
own.
Blues, we own.
Yeah.
And they all sign off on it.
Yeah, and so those are just things that you have to think about when you get these content, is you want as much of the content library as you can,
Right.
so whatever agency is managing you has as many options as they can
Yeah.
to
Right.
create. Because if you had 10 hours of video, that gives them a lot of content to create
Right.
videos for
Right.
under your
30 seconds.
management cost,
Yeah.
not under your extra content creation cost.
Right.
But if you have them down here to do 10 hours of video, it's gonna cost you
That's
more
what it
than your
costs.
budget would ever allow.
We're about 10 minutes till 10. I'm gonna step out and let the Welcome Center know we'll be a little bit late. Do you think we can wind up by about 10:15, 10:20?
Yeah,
Okay.
the rest of my stuff is
I don't wanna
pretty
cut this short
short.
because this is extremely important for what we're gonna do this next
fine.
year. And we wanna, after Andrew finishes, get your feedback on where if you think this is where we are. So you want me to tell her about 10:30?
Oh, I think
15
10,
minutes.
15,
Yeah.
I'm still
Yeah.
pushing to
Yeah.
get further.
Let's go, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that
Thanks,
gives
sir.
you a
You're
very
welcome.
good description of basically what an agency would do.
Okay.
Those two packets that I gave you from Life and Vista Work are just two example documents of what an agency would produce when you're looking to be a part of them. So I would recommend looking over those. There's a couple more agencies I can recommend to you guys, but then this will be actually to submit out that RFP whenever you're ready, probably in November for 2019.
Does this work, does it, without me reading it, does it have that we would obtain ownership of the pictures and stuff?
No, I mean,
Could you add that in that?
You could ask them for that.
Yeah.
It just, this all just has to be in your RFP. So this
The
was,
RFP,
these were all basic phone calls that I said, this is what we're interested to do.
Right.
Can you give me a quick estimate or proposal on this is what we're interested, how much
So
that
if
will
we're
cost?
interested, then we've got to write that RFP. and
Yeah.
Yes,
go
so
for it.
no matter
Right,
what,
right.
because you're a
Right.
city, board, you have to write it. You can't just go, we're going with Vista Work.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to go out and you have to have an RFP, you have to give them time to submit
Come
the
back,
RFP.
yes.
My recommendation would be to reach out to both these agencies,
Right.
since they were very easy to work with without basically having any guarantees to them, or
Right.
any even like requests to them. It was basically, can you send this to me so I can show them to the board? So they were very open to work with, which is always a good sign.
Right.
So I would recommend adding these, but you definitely want to send it out to a broader network.
Right.
What samples of, like, Vista Works, give me the names of some communities they work for, so we can see.
They
what
just
they're
started
work-
working for Walsenburg. If you go onto their line, they have a whole
on
portfolio.
VistaWorks.com?
Yeah.
Canyon City, you
Okay.
said,
Yeah.
right?
They're out of Canyon City, so they work for
So
some
they say
businesses.
Buena Vista.
Buena Vista, I think they've worked for.
No, they say Vista Works, P.O. Box, Buena Vista, Colorado.
Oh, okay.
So,
Then maybe they're.
They're out of them.
Maybe I misunderstood when they said Canyon City. He talked a lot about Canyon City.
I
so
think
that
I have an
may-
office
They
in Canyon
probably
City.
work for.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, but if you go to either one of their websites, they have
Okay.
full portfolios of what they're what they offer.
right. Okay.
Real quick, local media, that's radio and chronicle, basically that is just putting ads in. The prices aren't cheap per se by any means. I mean, the chronicle is actually very expensive to advertise in, but it's needed, so you want to at least keep some type of budget for that. How much, that is really up to you guys, and I know you know sort of how much you've spent in the past on local radio, so I didn't want to assume too much. But I thought giving yourself between $6,000 and $12,000 per year is a good amount of radio advertising in the town of Trinidad. Billboards. So I sort of reached out to 4 different groups, and 2 were really willing to work with us in presenting all the information that was available. So I looked at Colorado Highway 25 from Colorado Springs to Pueblo, basically. I contacted the company about from Santa Fe to Raton, and they never reached back to me. So I don't know if that was a salesperson out, or I just wasn't able to get that information, because with these bigger companies, they have regional offices and they only let you access the information for that regional office. So,
I'm sorry.
so with UC, Colorado's a lot more expensive than the other, which is I-85 from Amarillo to Raton. Those are a lot cheaper, but as you can also see when you go through, I gave a couple pamphlets out. I don't know if everyone got one, but Out Front is in Colorado. Yeah, Out Front is in Colorado, and so that shows you the billboards in Colorado, and then Lamar is the one in Texas and New Mexico, and the quality of billboards are a lot different. They are full-size billboards versus sort of
Small.
almost homemade billboards in the.
Is it because of the billboards are limited in Colorado? Is that
Yes.
so much fun?
They're limited because Colorado is limited in, as well as the want for promotion on them is a lot higher than in somewhere in between. I mean,
I'm
I
not a
think,
billboard fan anymore.
so I gave you those options. My recommendation was, you could spend, so it was $250 to $450 per month for the ones between Amarillo and Raton, $650 to $1,600 for the billboards between Colorado Springs and Pueblo. What I recommended if you did it was that you chose one billboard from Colorado Springs to Pueblo to highlight, and you chose 3 to 4 billboards to highlight in the Amarillo to Raton area. The company that does from Colorado Springs, that is your the cost that I gave you of 9,600 would be your total cost with content creation, entry of your contract costs. So all of these have basically a beginning your contract, like you join a gym, they have a joining cost, and then a monthly cost. So to create the content, to get you in, and that would be about 9,600 for one billboard, and then through Lamar, I think it is. Yeah, Lamar. They only gave cost per month. They didn't give any of the entry fees or the content creation fees.
Some of them are included.
Yeah, it really just depends, and if you're buying more, you usually can negotiate down. But that's the main information, and if I get the information on the Albuquerque to Raton I-25 cost, I'll let you guys know. I'll send that out.
Can I make a suggestion?
Mhm.
Because I was the billboard chick for Wendy's, and I think it's a waste of money to advertise Raton South on I-25. Traffic counts in that area are very low. We need to concentrate on Raton to Amarillo, but that's where the money's at.
The 85 versus
there's
the
more.
25.
The only problem is that, and to hit it spot on, the quality of those billboards and the availability of them are few and far between, because once you connect on one of those, nobody ever lets them go, because they're so effective.
Especially the big ones. So a lot of the ones you'll see are like a single or like a one with another billboard
Yeah.
under it, and so it would be, at least my recommendation then would probably be then at least maybe get one or two on Highway 87 and see if you can build that relationship with the company. Because if you build that relationship, you can always have them update you on the new billboards that come up in that area.
We have none now.
We have none in that area.
Well, we did.
Or
85, we had two of them.
87.
87, yeah.
oh, we do
Yeah.
on through outdoor. Do you know which company?
Well, they've changed companies, they've merged and split
Yeah.
up a few times, so.
Okay.
I don't remember them letting go. I think the contracts are good.
No,
through
we still have
April.
the contracts
Oh,
for
okay,
those. Yeah.
Okay,
So we have two on 87.
yeah,
When are they up?
They've been up
they've been up
for a while.
years.
Yeah, I feel like
A long
probably
time.
like 10 years or so.
Yeah, we need to we
When
need
does
we
the
need to
contract
screen
end?
them.
We can check on it and see.
Yeah,
I
We
think
can check on it and see.
because we have to have one of them at least. If it's,
Well, we
It's
updated
tricky.
the one that's coming into Trinidad. We just, I think 2 months ago or so, we renewed that contract, and so, and then they gave you a price of I think $650 to rewrap it for that one, and then I know the contract's still going on for the two on 87, and they haven't been rewrapped.
who owns the one that's, or you may not know, who owns the one at the end of the frontage road advertising Highway of Legends?
I don't
Does
know the
anybody
answer
know?
to
Which
that.
one
We
is
haven't
that?
had any.
I
It's
think
at the
it's
end of the
state
frontage
agency.
road, it'd be on the windy side,
Uh-huh.
and it's
I think
advertising,
that's the state.
because it's really in bad shape, but it's advertising the Highway of Legends.
I think that's the state, isn't
Yeah, that's the hard part about billboards. Is it's
Yeah.
really it's a crapshoot on who owns them.
Is
and
it
there's-
is it a junky looking one? Because I haven't.
Well, I ride my bike all the way to the end of that road,
Uh-huh.
and one day I just rode a little bit farther to it, but, you know, and it's advertising the Highway of
Yeah,
Legends.
there are-
So it's been there a long time.
Yeah, there are a few, very few, and that might be one, I'm not sure, that were personally owned before the grandfather
Yeah, and I
laws, and
think
they
that-
put them up and rented them to people, and then they decided that their
Because that
contract
would be a
was-
good one to have,
yeah.
if we could obtain
What
that.
about
I'll
the
look at them.
Todd signs that the state of Colorado puts?
CDOT signs?
CDOT signs?
Yeah,
What about them?
for
Well,
tourism.
they
for-
have gas,
like, we would
food,
like to-
lodging, and I've
Right.
seen a couple that says attractions.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
Why couldn't we ask the state to put an attractions?
We can
Well,
request. We
well-
can request
Historic
it.
Trinidad.
Well, even a tourism one
They,
with
they have, it's for specific.
for specific.
So, if you guys have never worked with CDOT before, CDOT is the bane of most city government's existence because they're very difficult to work with. So what I would say is you can always send an email and request for that to happen.
Yeah.
It may take 2
Well,
years.
Mhm.
No.
But at least the request is in.
No,
Yeah.
because what happened is that I've been out of the billboard business for about 3 years. But what happened is they had a private company that managed all the TODs, they called them tourism orientation direction. We used to call them TODs. So what you do is you contact that company, and if you can get enough interest in putting an attractions one up, and if there's enough distance between the TODs that are there now, you can put another one up, and that was a flat. We had one in both directions, north-south, of I-25, and I think it's like $5,000 a year, which is excellent.
Yeah, I just did the one for the hotels, but the hotels are different, and it was $1,500. I was actually debating it, but mine is different. The reason why I was debating it is because it said hotels at the next corner, and they have all the hotels. It's like, well, you're gonna see me, so actually I paid for it. But I didn't.
And they include for extra, you can put them off of the exits too.
But I have seen those attraction ones. Those are good ideas, like,
Well, even if we could get one for like 1,200,
yeah.
I think you got that one.
Yeah, I'll ask actually, just because I just did it.
And then,
Thanks,
so that's sort of the options on billboards. Really, that's going to be deciding what you guys are interested in, then reaching out to these companies and actually getting them to send you an agreement. I told all of these companies to send us stuff that would be available in January of 2019, as that's when the new fiscal year is and that's when the new money would come around. So, options may change. There may be one that's available in November that won't be available in January, all those type of things. So it's really one of those organizations that you have to have a working relationship with to get the billboards that you're looking for. But I put some money in there for billboards so that you could diversify your billboard portfolio a little bit. Then we have web maintenance. Under web maintenance, there's sort of two different categories. There's general maintenance and then actually updating or improving the page. So the general maintenance would be switching in and out pictures, doing general maintenance on the backside, SEO, those type of things, updating information for the seasons, those type of things. The updates would actually be, we want a new page. We want a new section to our website. They would be creating new content, new clickable pages for your website.
Might be the same group that did the social media, the email campaign?
It can be.
Okay.
It can be different. So currently, Studio 6 is constructing the website, and then once they're done constructing, there's an option with them, if you would like, to have them basically do the general maintenance and maintaining the page for so odd a month. Or you can say, we're okay with you not doing that, and we'll do
We'll take it from here.
we'll take it from here, and you don't pay anyone, and then that you would do all this stuff on your own. Or you could say, we're okay, we're transitioning to a different company, and they could do it as
Right.
well. But the updating the events, that's not under that general section. That is something that Marty's going to do, because if not, that would be something that you'd have to pay someone to be constantly doing. Because they would need to have a lot of time out of their 40 hours a week scheduled to
So
just
Studio
making
6
sure.
is doing our website, and then we
Where are
could
they?
flip it to
Where
Marty.
We
Where
want
are
that
they?
too.
We are
Yeah.
going to flip it
Where
to Marty.
are they? And then
I
it's to do
don't
it
want to
on
specifically
website.
assign a staff
We're,
person until we have that conversation.
We're giving them 3 final photos to
Somebody
launch
will
the
be
first 4
responsible.
pages, and they're in the process of designing the second 4
And
pages.
are they using the Discover Trinidad site, or are they using another site?
Visit
So,
Trinidad, Colorado.
Visit
I saw that on
Trinidad
the
dot-
pictures, and I
Visit
wondered
Trinidad,
where that came
Colorado.
from. I was
Yeah,
like,
so we bought visit trinidadcolorado.com, .co, .org, and
Everything done.
Everything's net.
Everything, yeah.
It's not very expensive to buy those. They're like $10.
Yeah, I saw it. That's what I was wondering.
But,
Discover Trinidad goes to Trinidad and Tobago.
the SEO on Discover Trinidad is
Oh,
terrible.
it goes to Trinidad to
So,
Tobago. There's nothing you can do.
They
but the
wrote
flags are-
Well,
Visit,
with that, we
Visit
need to-
Trinidad, Colorado was a way better SEO than Discover Trinidad, so that's why we switched
So
it.
with that, on the Facebook page, we should probably get in there this week and change that.
They'll change it as we're going over.
Oh, okay.
So once it's live, they'll change the
They'll
the
change
Facebook
everything,
page
yeah.
too? Okay.
Everything
Okay.
to match. All things scripts, pictures, everything.
Okay.
And so, really web maintenance, I would recommend at least putting some money into web maintenance, because unless you have someone who really knows WordPress. I mean, Marty's going to be trained on how to enter the events and delete events and add new events. But besides that, if you don't have someone who knows WordPress pretty well, they can slowly but surely mess up the site by putting in things wrong. And so it's really up to you guys on that website maintenance and updates. It's really what you're looking for and how much you're trying to. You can always put that in your RFP and say, but put that as an extra line item so that it's not, so that they'll do your whole bid and then you'll do extra for website updates or website content. You can put that into your agreement very easily with any of those companies. The last two things, we didn't talk too much about these in my initial presentation, but I do think these are important. The first one is blogs. You can have companies for about $150 to $200 write you 250-word blog posts related to your community. Those are a more organic way of getting people interested in community because they're written in a exploratory voice rather than sort of a sales or advertising voice. They're written in more of a, this is something cool that's happening, or here's a personal story. Those would go either on a blog that you had any of these content creators create, or that you made it as part of your website. So you could have a blog on the visittrinidadcolorado.com website, and that blog could then have blog posts that you pay to have someone come create and post. And so that would be around 250 words for $150 to $200 per post. Of course, you'll have to advertise that with your RFP to see how much each company is charging. But for both of the companies that I've talked to, they both do it, and they're both around $150 to $200. And then SEO, so this is search engine optimization. The two companies that I presented to you are both Google Plus certified, so that basically means that they have been certified by Google to do SEO for Google, which is what you're doing SEO on. And so search engine optimization basically just makes your website easier to find through either keywords or through just general search. So it's gotten way more competitive than it used to be. Yeah. It used to be you pay someone and yours would be the #1 site for just your name, but now there's so many, they've changed their SEO method a little bit, Google has, as well as there's so many people fighting for those positions that it's harder. So if you type in Trinidad, we're never going to be the top 5 or 6 for the reason that TripAdvisor and other travel sites get so many clicks on Trinidad, and then Trinidad and Tobago gets so many more clicks than Trinidad that will never beat them because it's just impossible. But say fishing in southern Colorado, we could make fishing in southern Colorado be a term that relates through our website and through the words that we write in our website to make that page be one of the top pages when you type in fishing in southern Colorado.
Yeah, and I don't really understand it yet, but I just dealt with somebody from La Quinta on our postings, like even when we post on Google or TripAdvisor. Yeah, they say if it's good to go ahead and do like Trinidad, La Quinta all the time, and when people pull up Trinidad, they'll automatically pull up La Quinta. Yes. And so they tell us, and it's negative, don't use the
and there's connecting words that you can do. So that's all sort of the back end stuff that you would be paying for, and that's basically to make when people search things about Trinidad, and Trinidad, Colorado, or words that aren't, you're not going to get those goal words that you always want, like Trinidad or those type of things. But you can get other keywords to really promote. So when someone's searching in Google, you'll be one of the top links. And so that's what SEO would do for you.
I just looked at the official Trinidad website, the government website.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't seem like there's a link to the tourism website.
There will be once we finish development of tourism.
So the tourism website currently is down, so we don't want to link anyone to that. Because we took it down for ADA.
One last thing before we wrap up. Andrew, you brought an extreme knowledge of all of this marketing. It's been such a pleasure to have you do this.
You.
When we do the RFP and we get the contractor, will it be such as that they can at least once a quarter come sit down with the tourism board and walk through these things with that same level of knowledge that you've done?
Depends.
I think that's going to be important.
I would say it depends what agency you go with. You can always request that in your RFP that we want an in-person quarterly sit down. A closer agency.
So we're always familiar with what we want.
Always.
A closer agency will be more applicable to that than a farther agency because of the money that we're putting up. $100,000 advertising campaign is relatively small for a company. Most advertising, I mean, they're $1 million. These bigger companies are dealing with hundreds of $1 million contracts.
Chicago might just say, we can't make it, but
But they'll,
Canyon City might
and so
say,
what
sure.
they'll,
Sure,
and
we
what they'll
can.
say is most likely, we can video conference with
Yeah,
you guys.
And that might work as well.
Yeah,
In
right.
there, we can do that.
But they'll send you usually most of the companies I talk to will send you either monthly or every 2-month reports, basically saying, this is all that we've done, this is what we've changed, here's all the changes that have happened, and here's all your numbers that have happened over that time period.
And would they recommend other things to do?
Yes, so their job is to be the
They'll grow
agency
it.
for you, because the goal is to grow your social media, to grow the clicks
Right.
on your website, so that the next year you go, we want to stick with this group.
Right.
And they want longevity, so they work for you and they work to try to grow your campaign, because the more successful your campaign is, the more likely you're going to spend more money with them, because your a lot of their models are, a lot of the city ones are, if we can build lodging tax goes back in to how much they're gonna give us. So let's build clicks, which will then build visitation, which will then build lodging tax, which will then give the tourism board more money, which will then have them spend more money on us. And so they're gonna try to do whatever they can to make it as most successful as they can.
And then just in closing on Andrew, since we're on live on TV, and I know that people watch, the media buy plan that Andrew proposed, all the different segments you've covered, it has a range associated with it based on what tourism board decides to do, and that range is at the low end, 82,971, at the high end, 216,750,000. And just a reminder that based on the budget discussion we had last week, we're looking at about 175,000 available, whether you decide to dedicate that to the media plan or not. So to take this one step further, are you ready for us to start developing an RFP? Do you want to come back and have a work session so you can pick and choose what is important to you in that RFP?
Yeah, we need a work session.
Okay.
I
So
think
we
it would,
need a
yeah,
work session.
and I think that would
Okay.
be good, because that will give you some time to not only look at those companies, but also if you want to look up some others that are maybe strong in Colorado, or you can always contact other communities and ask. I did that with a couple of the AmeriCorps Vistas I knew around the state, asked if they had companies that they used, to contact them. So, because you do want to post it out to everyone, but it's also very recommended to send it to specific entities, just because if you know that you like those entities, sending them to them directly, they're gonna find it. If you put it online, they may not find it as easily.
So we'll do a work session on the third Wednesday of the month, which is the 19th, related to this right here. And then we'll have a short meeting at the end of that work session to handle any business adoption of minutes and things of that nature. Let's go see the Welcome Center. There may be some items that come out of that. So this isn't an adjournment of the meeting. This is just a moving of the meeting over to 320 Nevada Avenue.
And did anyone have any other questions on the media buy plans before? Because I won't be going to the Welcome Center.
Oh, maybe you should.
No, I guess just in reference to this portion of the meeting is just that we have in front of us now, the picture of the trolley and stuff. Is there a bid that goes along with this to do the work?
So that would be the next step. So we wanted to sort of show you that and get your guys' just sort of overall group.
Is everyone good with this?
We like
What
it.
do
We've
you
been
think?
working with Tom on it to do some adjustments to it, but
What did we have on it before Visit Trinidad?
Just that
Historic
Trinidad trolley.
we,
Yeah.
Historic
No.
Trinidad.
We
Well-
just Trinidad trolley.
so on the backside, we switched it from Trinidad
to
Trolley
visit.
with the way out west to Visit Trinidad and the website to drive a little more traffic.
Okay. All right, guys.
But now, now that that
They
is
do
So this is gonna
done.
it's
go
free.
out as an RFP?
So now, Studio 6 will put out an RFP. They have a couple agencies in mind, one in Pueblo specifically that's 3M certified, and it would be easy because we could drive the trolley to them
Yeah.
versus have them come here.
It'll be
Right.
cheaper.
I'll figure
So we
it out.
drive